and thank you guys for watching me today. I'm doing something a little bit different because I'm doing a 2-for-1, so please be patient with me. I'm going to show you how to make a balloon. So come on back in the room and stay tuned, and thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for being here with me. As always, whenever you see me do what? Whenever you see me put on my apron, I'm putting on my apron, which means I'm getting ready to make something. So today I'm going to show you how to brand the balloons. I have to do some balloons for some of my clients. So I'm going to show you how I do that today. And I'm going to use my Silhouette machine. Instead of me using my big cutter over there, I'm going to show you how to do it in your Silhouette machine because most of you guys do not have the bigger cutter. So I'm going to show you the little color. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Adobe Illustrator, and I've already got it prepped up a little bit. And I'm going to go to a new document. So I'm going to go to, let me get some of this stuff out of my way. File, New. And once that comes up, I'm going to just do a basic 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It's nothing major, just a basic paper. And if you look on the side, most of the sizes are already over here, and I just need to click on the one that's appropriate for what I want. And then I want it to be like this. And then I'm going to say create. Hello, thank you for being here with me today. I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm actually showing you my screen today where you're going to see me make something actually on site. So you guys can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me because I will turn my Yeti mic on. Okay, so now that I have that up, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to type in Client Appreciation Day. Something really simple. She just wants to say Client Appreciation Day. Nothing that's too hard. Hey Javon, hey Joyce. And I'm just going to type in Client Appreciation Day. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go to New Caledonia, I'm sorry, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to make it about, I want it to be kind of big, so I'm going to make it to be this. And it's going to be really, really simple what I'm going to do. Hey Joyce. I'm going to instantly move it to the side. It's just that simple. I'm going to copy paste it. I'm going to outline it. Oops. I did something wrong first. I need to make sure I align it. I need to make sure it's centered. I'm going to paragraph center it. I'm sorry. I need to center it. And then I'm going to outline it. And then I'm going to make it bigger. The reason I'm going to make it bigger is because I want it to be in the middle of this. Can you see my balloon? I want it to be in the middle. My balloon is greater than 12 inches. So if I do 8.5 by 11, it's going to fit perfectly in the middle. So that's what I want. And I want to make it to be pretty big because I can cut up to 12 by 12. And I'm going to do 2 of these. I'm going to do them all in black, so it's nothing really fancy. I'm not going to have to mirror this. And do you know why I'm not going to mirror this? Because I'm not using, hey Rebecca, I'm not using heat transfer. I'm just using regular vinyl. So I'm ready. It's simple, client appreciation. I should have did spell check, but I think it's correct. And from here, I'm going to go to File, Silhouette Connect, Send to Silhouette Connect. If you have Silhouette Connect, it is very easy to do this. It is not hard. It is just like this. While that's going on, I'm going to prep my mat. I am using a standard grip mat. I got this mat from, I believe it was Hobby Lobby because, of course, it's pink, so I want to use this mat. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull my vinyl and I'm going to cut it and prep it. And I know that I'm going to do about a 12. So I'm just going to simply go and just cut it along that edge. And I'm going to be good and not really cut it the way I normally cut it. I will take it over there to my cutting board. But if you don't have a cutting board, all you do is line up the edge like so. Make sure it's on 12. That should be right there. And then I have a mat that tells me where 12 is. So 12 is actually right here on my mat. So all I'm going to do is just line it up. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife. From here, I'm going to line up my mat. Here's my mat. I'm going to pull the paper off. And I always keep the clear protector. I roll up my vinyl just a little bit so that I can make sure I get it on there perfectly right. And if you're not familiar how to do that, the other video shows you how to do that, as well as the one I'm going to post in a little bit. So I'm going to lay it in here and make sure it's on my 12 by 12, but this is actually 11, so it's going to be a little bit less than that. I'm just going to slowly roll it out, and there it is on my mat. See? We now have it on my mat. From here, I'm just going to load it into my machine and push the load. Now, what I want to show you here is, now that we are actually on the Silhouette software, so this is what the Silhouette Connect looks like. It's nothing fancy, it's just a regular basic setup. What you want to be careful with is make sure the size says custom, but I want to make sure it's on a 12 by 12 mat. Or you can leave it on 8.5 by 11. It doesn't really matter. My material is 12 by 12, so I'm going to keep it on 12 by 12. I don't need any weeding, no extra things over there. Then you're going to go to send. Now, I always make sure that I use mine as a USB. I do not use mine as a Bluetooth. The Bluetooth sometimes comes off rather slow. I'd rather just hook mine up. Okay. Now you see it's plugged up. It says available. Now you can see it says available. So once it's available, I just click on the available one, and it's going to change to syncing, and then it's going to tell me that it's ready. Once it's ready, I can cut. So what I want to do is, because I'm using the Silhouette Cameo 3, there is an automatic blade. I want to make sure my automatic blade is on. I love the automatic blade. I am using not heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to change it to regular vinyl. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom. And I'm going to use just regular vinyl. Let's see. It's so many different types of vinyl. I just wanted to use the regular vinyl. So it's not glitter vinyl, it's not matte vinyl, it's not metallic vinyl. It's Oracle 651. It says vinyl Silhouette Oracle 651. It's the same, so I'm going to click on that. You just got your notification. No worries, Regina. I just got on really. So from here, I'm just going to simply go and I'm going to push send. And then just like that. Now, I do want to make sure when I'm looking at it on the screen, I want to make sure that, you know, it's going to say automatic. My force is 10. That's not actually right. That's going to cut too much. My blade should be only on like a 1 or 2, honestly. I don't know why it's doing that. That's why you should always check to make sure. My pass is on 1, and then my force is on 10. That seems to be a lot. So I'm not sure how this is going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test to make sure it's going to work right. So just let me click test. And with the test, it's actually going to cut a little bit of a sample before you actually do it, so you don't waste any vinyl. And while that's always doing it, I'm prepping and I'm getting my weeding tools out. I'm going to wait till it stops and I'm going to unload it. Now the machine lets me know it's done. I'm just simply going to unload it. From here, I'm just going to pull it and just see to make sure that it did not cut through. And it cut perfectly fine, so it's good. It's good to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply put it back in the machine. And I'm going to load it. Now as I'm looking at this, I want to make sure that it's correct. So let me just go back to my computer for a second and look at it. If you're not sure if it's going to cut properly, you can always flip it to make sure. And it looks to me like it's going to cut okay. Now if I were using some different types of font, like a cursive font, then I would really be concerned and I would want to weld it all together. But I want to make sure it's all one piece. I guess that's considered to be welding too. I can't think of the name of it. But make sure it's one piece. But because it's actually individual, it's okay. So I'm just going to basically flip it back over just for the sake of that. And I'm going to go back to the same thing. File, Silhouette Connect, and send to Silhouette. I don't have to make any changes because I already made it. As long as you are using the same file, the same things, it's not going to have to be any changes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to go and click on send, and it's going to automatically print for me. So here we go. Now I am actually done with the computer, so I'm getting ready to turn that off, and I'm going to come back to my regular screen so you guys can see me. And I'm going to close that down, and then I'm going to go back to the regular screen so you guys can see me. Now I'm just going to sit here and wait for this to cut. Now while it's cutting, I'm actually going to now start prepping it because I need some tape. This is where you're going to need some transfer tape. And I have several types of transfer tapes. I have clear transfer tape. I have transfer tape that has lines. And I have transfer tape that has masking tape. Now, which one you prefer to use is totally up to you. I prefer to use the one that has this because it's easy for me to come off. But some people like to use the masking tape. It's just a personal preference. It just depends on what you're using and what you want to use. Like when I do the buses, I use the clear, and the reason I do that is because he's able to line it up and put markings on this. When you're working with this one, you really can't see what it looks like. So that's kind of, it's hard for me to see through it. And I'm just going to sit there and let it cut. And I'm going to actually cut two of these. I'm going to cut one on camera, then one off camera. But I am going to show you what it looks like. I think next week I'm going to show you all what my big cutter is. I have the 28-inch US cutter. I'm going to cut from that, and from that I use a different program. It's the same designing. It is a plugin that I use, and I take it straight from Adobe Illustrator to that program, so I'm loving that process too. Anything that I can use Adobe Illustrator, I'm using. The reason why I don't use my Cricut machine a lot, can you guys hear me okay? The reason I don't use my Cricut machine when I'm doing this kind of things is because I don't like working in a web-based software. That's not what I like. I don't like web-based. I like to design it in Adobe Illustrator, send it straight from Adobe Illustrator to the cutter, and it works perfectly good for me. So now I'm just simply going to unlock it, and it is going to be perfect. And here it is. And then I'm simply going to, and I could have put two on the page, it looks like. I'm simply going to unroll it. And the way I unroll mine is I do it this way. And if you look, it did cut a little bit too strong. Can you see it? So this is a new blade, and it's sharp. So I could have gone to a 1 instead of doing, okay, good. I could have did a 1 instead of doing a 2. So now I'm going to put my mat to the side. I'm going to cover it again because I don't want to get it dirty. Put it to the side. And then once again, I'm going to cut because there's a lot of vinyl on the bottom that I can reuse. So I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife. And I did do something wrong. I'm going to recut another one so I can show you what I did wrong. I did something really wrong. Not really bad, but for what I do is wrong. But I'm going to weed this. I'm going to weed it off camera. So you guys can, I don't think you guys can see it. Let's see. Now before I start weeding, I always take the time to rub it down because I want the vinyl to actually adhere to itself a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start my weeding process. And the weeding process is, I've never weeded this up before, so it might be kind of interesting. I'm going to just start to pull it off. And if it messes up, it's okay. I'm just going to slowly start pulling each piece off, and it should come off with no problem. And if I seem to be having difficulty with it, I'm going to change it and do it on the table. But it should be a simple weed. Oops, my letter A, so hold on. A little bit of difficulty, hold on 1 second. Gotta save the A. And sometimes you get that. You just have to be really careful with some of the stuff, that's all. It's not that the cut was actually wrong. You just got to be careful with the cut. And that's where your little knife comes in handy. Just cut the piece. Now one thing that's different than this versus the heat transfer vinyl, this is very, very tacky. and it will stick on itself, and kind of you can lose your whole design because it will literally stick on itself. So you got to kind of be careful with it, but it comes off no problem. I just lost an A. Just got to fix the letter A a little bit. Not sure what happened with the letter A. And so here's the first part of the weeding that we do. So now I have to go back in the middle and just pick all those things out. And I like to use a weeding tool that I get to pick like this, it just works out easy for me that way. Now with the letter A, I think I'm actually going to redo the A, and I'm going to show you how I do that in a second, because this A did not work out very well for me. So I'm going to actually reprint it. But this worked out perfectly well. Let me grab my balloon so I can see if it's going to fit properly. And I have my balloon. And there it is. It's going to fit perfectly well, but the letter A is wrong on this one. It messed up. So I'm going to show you how we're going to fix that. So I'm going to just grab some more vinyl because I'm going to make another one. So one thing I do when I'm working with Adobe Illustrator is I always draw a box around it. And the reason why I always draw a box around it is because I want to make sure it cuts properly. Sometimes if I'm working with a design that's really difficult, I might not do a big box. I'll do an individual box, meaning I will go and put a line, I will go and put a box around each word, like so. And then I'm just going to turn it where it's outlined. And this would allow me to do two things. It would make the cut easier, and it would also make the vinyl waste a little bit less. I decrease the waste of the vinyl. So I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm going to copy paste. I don't know why I'm not using my mouse. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom one. And all I'm doing, this is actually a cut line that I'm doing. Copy paste. Do the same thing again. And all I'm doing is just adjusting my cut lines. Now remember, I've messed up the letter A, so I need to ungroup this. So I'm going to go Object, Ungroup. I'm going to copy the letter A. Oops. Just copy the letter A. Letter A. Copy, paste, and put it to the side because I want to do it. So now I'm going to just do a box around it. I'm going to put the stroke on it. And then now I'm going to send that to my Silhouette Connect. I don't have to make any changes because it's already there. It's on a 1 now, so that's the lowest it can go, which is kind of odd. I need to figure out, oh, I can remove the force. So the force is the pressure that goes down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lighten up the pressure. Now imagine if I would have kept it on 10. That would have been really bad. So the speed is fine. I made it to be a 6, and then it says it's ready. So now I'm going to do is just push my send. So does anybody know what this is? This is the spatula tool. I'm going to show you how to use the spatula. I'm actually going to scoop up the letter A and take it all the way off of my design because I don't need it. It's actually damaged. I can't use it, so I'm going to throw it away. But I have an extra A that I'm going to place in this area. Sometimes when you're doing these, you have to kind of do that. I'm going to show you how to do it. I call it like a slip seat. You kind of have the design. The impression is already there. You just have to follow the outline and just put it back where it goes. It's really simple to do. I'm going to show you how to do it. So while that's doing it, I'm just going to go ahead and lay out my tape. I'm gonna lay my tape across and just rub it over. Now I'm going to do is just grab it. I'm going to rub it really good. And it's going to come off like such. And I'm just simply going to peel it up. And it comes off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place my balloon down. And I have already folded mine, so I kind of know where the center of the balloon is. And I'm simply just going to take this piece and lay it straight down. Put it in the middle where I think it is, or you can actually fold the piece too. Get a crease mark in it so you know where the center is. And then just place it down. Now be careful when you put it down, because once it's stuck, it's kind of going to be stuck. You might ruin the design trying to pick it up. And all I'm going to do now is I'm just simply going to do the same thing. We're going to rub it in. Hey, Keisha. Now I've got to go and find my little letter A. Remember the letter A I have? And then I'm just going to simply put the letter A back on here. I'm going to kind of eyeball it where I think it should go. And then I'm going to rub it. Now what I could have done is, if I had not taken it off of this, I could have peeled it off and put it onto the actual backing itself. But that was too much work today, because I wanted to show you guys how to do it the right way. Sometimes I'm a risk taker. I'll do it that way. Then all I'm going to do now is just rock it on down. And then here's my balloon. Thank you guys for watching. It's Client Appreciation Day.